And coming up in this week's show, Game of Thrones news. Kinda. The Joker's sexuality is explained. Sorta. And Red Sonja gets a makeover in one of those really strange sort of ways. But first, I'd like to remind you to like the show on Facebook and subscribe to the show on iTunes or the Google Play Store or YouTube. Yes, YouTube, where you can watch the show in pretty colors and not have to look at either me or Todd. How easy stuff. If you want to know how to find all those, go to the website, cinema-savants.com, if I can actually get it to come out of my mouth. You never know. And don't forget that we also have a second show on Thursday just for reviews. This is just the news show. If you're looking for reviews, you're in the wrong place. But listen anyway, because it'll be fun. We have things on this show you're not going to hear on the Thursday show because that's just reviews. This is news, like the new Mortal Kombat movie. Which doesn't... I don't get this. I'll admit that it's a movie based on a video game that I stopped paying attention to after Mortal Kombat 3. Not that I could play any of them at all. I sucked at playing Mortal Kombat. But I hear they're up to Mortal Kombat 10, possibly beyond that. But I still know the characters, right? And they announced...
Everybody knows the characters.
Everybody knows the characters. They announced a lot of the characters in the movie. Scorpion and Sub-Zero are not in it, which is weird because those are, staple characters. But they announced people like Kano is in it, Sonya Blade, Mileena, Jax, Liu Kang, Kung Lao. Lord Raiden is in it, but he's 14 years old. If you want to explain that, knock yourself out. But do you want to know who the lead of this new movie is?
I really want to know who the lead is. Yes,
the lead character is named Cole Turner. And judging from the stunned silence, you too are wondering who the hell is Cole Turner? He's not in any of the games. It's something that has made no sense since I read this on like Wednesday or Thursday or something and went, who? And apparently the rest of the internet has gone, who? This is kind of like making a Super Mario Brothers movie. Really? Mario's the lead? No. Luigi's the lead? No. Well, who's the lead? Steve. Who the hell is Steve?
Yeah. My stunned silence wasn't because I'd never heard of the character, although I hadn't, but it's just my stunned silence is more along the line, we're going to go the HBO Watchmen route.
Oh, dear.
At least they have a lot of the characters, although
I didn't name all of them. They're Kung Lao, Shang Tsung.
Yeah, which is really good. But why are you changing the focus to a character no one knows about? I mean, I can see how it can work because now it's going to be a fresh take. It's going to be a different story set in that universe, and it actually set in that universe with most of those characters. Thank God, as opposed to Watchmen, but. Still,
who the hell is Steve?
Yeah, don't quite get that aspect, but I would give it a chance because at least they have most of those characters are in there, and I can see it's like somehow he stumbles upon the tournament, and maybe he gets to fight the 14-year-old Raiden Thunder God, which is kind of odd, but okay.
Well, they also announced Cole Turner's family, Emily, his 12-year-old daughter, Sophia, his 60-year-old mom, and Jess, his 35-year-old sister who doesn't believe in him.
That's so sad.
That sounds like a story we don't need to watch.
Yeah, I know. She doesn't believe in him literally? That would be really cool. Like she doesn't believe he exists at all. That I would watch that. That would be fun.
That's different.
Yeah, I would love that. I'm in for that.
An existential movie.
Yeah, no, really, sis, I'm here. It's like, nope, don't hear anything. Just keeps on walking by. That would be fun, but that's unfortunately not what it's going to be. So sad.
Speaking of existential stuff, Doctor Who has some news this week in some very bizarre kind of way. First off, during the World Cup final, at least on the BBC, there's going to be a trailer for the new series. Finally. Which I'm looking forward to. I want to see how Jodie Whittaker does in the role. I think it's going to be a very interesting season, considering they got new everybody. The TARDIS is still there. That's about it. Everything else is new. And apparently the trailer is going to be online shortly afterwards. I don't know if it's being aired in the States. I think that would be good if it was. I'm pretty sure it won't be. And there's also a really weird clip floating around on Facebook with Doctor Who and David Tennant reprising his role of the Doctor on stage. And I have not caught on to where this actually took place. I've seen several different cut versions. Find the longest one, because it's actually really interesting, because it's David Tennant interacting with the Muppets Pigs in Space.
Oh my gosh.
And there is I've forgotten the name of the captain of the Swine Trek? Is that what it was? The name of their ship?
I cannot recall what that was.
I know. It's been so long since Pigs in Space has been a thing in my mind. Their captain looked at David Tennant and said, "What's with the lightsaber?" "It's not a lightsaber, it's a sonic screwdriver." Expect a lot of that. But they do have a big thing on a screen behind them on the stage where they have all the Muppets get run through, but they're dressed as all 13 incarnations of the Doctor, resulting in Miss Piggy as Jodie Whittaker's Doctor. And they run through them in order. It's cute, it's funny, and I'm sure
that sounds
probably
hilarious.
Scrolled past it at some point.
And it is Swine Trek.
It's Swine Trek. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh my God.
It's going to be grainy quality. The camera is wobbly because it's a guy on an iPhone. Duh. They're not going to let, actual footage sneak through of that.
Sounds like actual production values from the first few years of Doctor Who. Fits.
Back, the William Hartnell days.
Yeah. That sounds fantastic.
As opposed to the days when Maisie Williams was on. Did you know Maisie Williams was on Doctor Who?
I did not know that Maisie Williams was on Doctor Who.
She was...
surely not during the William Hartnell years, because... No. Unless she really can time travel. Maybe she's the...
impressive. She ended up being kind of like a kind of a Time Lord, kind of a Master-like character. It was very weird, and that's actually my segue to the Game of Thrones news, which isn't news.
No.
Maisie Williams tweeted this week her farewell... her farewell to Game of Thrones. It's got a picture of her wearing... Actually, it's just a picture of what we believe to be her ankles and some bloody tennis shoes. Which fits. She's saying goodbye to the series. Not because her character was killed off, but because she's just done shooting. We don't know if her character was killed or not.
It's Game of Thrones.
It's Game of Thrones. Who knows? But I did find the article that CNET ran on it a bit interesting, because it says that she's leaving Game of Thrones for the New Mutants movie. Which, wow.
Which will never stop filming.
It's never...
filming new characters.
The movie, it has a new date, though. It is now August 2nd, 2019. That's right, 19, not this year, next year.
Sure,
even though the original release date was the April we just passed a few months ago.
I'm sure they mean 2029.
I'm sure they do at this point. It's going to be the old mutants by the time they're done with it. It's... How could you guys have screwed... They're done filming it. They were done filming it before she started this season of Game of Thrones. That's...
Sounds excellent. And actually, what it sounds like, seriously, is that they're in some kind of a bizarre holding pattern, waiting to see if Disney's going to get Fox, is what it sounds like. And then Disney can fix it. Disney, Marvel.
Disney will just toss it, because it was a horror movie, and Disney doesn't... Well, no, there was The Black Hole, which was kind of a horror movie. If it was...
That was a horror movie in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
That's just bizarre. Not too many movies you can think of that it's like, oh, we're done shooting, but oh wait, let's add a new character
or two.
Because this is the second time at least. Actually, I think it's the third time, isn't it, for New Mutants?
I think it is.
New Mutants. Yeah, you're right. By the time they give it, Professor X will be back in it, and it'll be Patrick Stewart, and they won't try to de-age him at all because, good God.
It's not the New Mutants anymore. It's the one previous owner with low mileage mutants. Wow, come on, guys. You can do better than that.
Is there a mutant fax so we can check out kick the tires on this mutant? Make sure. Wow, that's wow.
FAX. That's what they'll be using, a fax machine to distribute the movie.
Wow.
Speaking of Marvel movies, Kevin Feige, who I'm glad we're now pronouncing that correctly. That works. Released a statement concerning the X-Men and the Fantastic Four in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He has said they're not going to do it anytime soon. Here, I love this quote. Not until we're given the word. I have vague dreams and vague ideas, but right now, bringing to life the 10,000 plus characters that Marvel fully controls is what the game plan is. I'm very busy for the foreseeable future. I get that.
I do. I don't think it was meant as a dig or even bragging, but I do like the fact of the 10,000 characters, because they do, and obviously some of those are not going to have their own movie.
Some of those are crap characters, but
yeah, but
J. Jonah Jameson, the movie. No, please don't.
Oh, now listen. If DC can make some of the standalone movies they're making, no reason on earth for Marvel not to make a J. Jonah Jameson movie.
Unfortunately, I think you're correct.
I mean, and if they have the right J. Jonah Jameson, I would actually go see it. I think that would be fun. But, yeah, that's not going to happen. But, yeah, there are so many characters that they can move on to that obviously will be great once they do, hopefully, finally get the Fantastic Four. We could actually get a movie. The lead from the first two Fantastic Four movies was... Oh,
you beat me to it. I saw that this morning.
Oh, well, talk about it.
Nope, you started. Keep going.
Well, since I can't recall the gentleman's name.
Jon Gruffudd.
Gruffudd, that guy. Anyway, he was talking about, this would be great because he'd really like it. And it's like, dude, they're not going to cast you as Mr. Fantastic because they don't want the stench of those movies attached to their product. I mean, and not that he was bad in the role, but...
No.
Dude.
Well, Chris Evans was the Human Torch in that movie.
Right,
and he moved on.
And he moved on to a different character.
Exactly. And Gruffudd... I just like saying it that way. I don't know if that's even pronouncing it correctly, but that's how it's spelled, damn it. He has said that, yeah, I know I'm probably not going to be Reed Richards again, and that's fine. I wanted to ask you this, and Lee, if he had bothered to show up today, but that's fine, too.
Damn it, Lee.
Would Jon Gruffudd would he work as Dr. Doom? Get to use his actual voice, because he is... Oh, that's an accent.
Yeah, he would. That was actually the first thing I thought of was Mephisto. I don't know why, but the first thing I thought of was him as Mephisto, which would be kind of cool. And I don't know that they're ever going to do Mephisto because that's a weird character for the comics, let alone...
That is true.
Let alone doing... So I don't think that would ever happen. Dr. Doom, yeah, I can see, but not quite. Not quite. I can't quite see him as Doom. No, I briefly thought, it's like, you know what, maybe in the future, if they reboot the Tony Stark version of Iron Man, if we ever get back to that, and we know someday they will, I think by the time they do that, though, I think he'll be a little long in the tooth, but I could see him playing Stark even.
My original casting for Tony Stark was Tom Skerritt.
Yeah, Tom Skerritt would have been pretty cool.
And, back in the day when,
Yeah.
around Alien,
mm-hmm.
I think that would have worked beautifully. Granted, back in college, personal sidetrack. See, off we go. Look at this lovely path overgrown with weeds. I sat down with some friends in college because we were really there were like 4 of us left in the entire dorm, and we're all comic geeks. So we decided to cast the X-Men movie back in 1989 or something.
Mm-hmm.
And we cast the X-Men. Oh, we need some villains. That's too many villains. We need some more good guys. We ended up casting 430 characters. Because we were bored. And a lot of them worked. I'm sorry, let me rephrase this. A lot of them would have worked.
Yeah.
None of it ever came to pass. Things like Dolph Lundgren as Colossus, because you need a tall, built Russian guy. Hello.
Mm-hmm.
That would have worked.
Totally.
I'm sorry. We did have Patrick Stewart as Professor Xavier.
Really?
That's the only one. I think we had Sean Connery as Magneto, but that's okay.
Ooh, I would have liked that.
And this was, during the Lethal Weapon days, so Mel Gibson as Wolverine, because we figured the height. We couldn't think of anyone short enough.
Yeah, and
the closest we came was Dustin Hoffman, and went, no.
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise might have worked.
He is almost the right height, too, which makes it fun.
Meanwhile, back at the show.
We're not going to talk more about potential.
Well, there's more stuff. We've got more Marvel news, even. Like,
I know.
Do you remember when I mentioned a couple weeks ago, Kate Shortland was on the short list to be the director of the Black Widow movie? Well, she was announced this week as the director of the Black Widow movie. Which, to me, this sounds like we're making it new news. I'm like, it's not new news. I did this a couple weeks ago. When you said, hey, very likely, I took that as a close enough.
Well, at least it's finally...
Apparently it's official.
Announced official, which seems that the movie is official, which is a very lovely thing. Finally.
Overdue.
Yeah, I'm not kidding. So.
Which leads us into the other ScarJo story of the week, where she was supposed to be in a film called Rub and Tug, which sounds like a really bad cartoon that Nickelodeon would try to put out. Where she was supposed to be playing a transgendered man, and the trans community exploded and said, how can Scarlett Johansson do this? Blah, 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 blah. So she dropped out of it. And the world is a happier place, I guess. I don't understand casting her as that in the first place. But if that's what she wants to do, whatever. Did you think this was maybe it's because I'm not transgendered.
I get the uproar, but are there that many trans actors that are really good actors? And then maybe it's because they haven't had the opportunity, and that could certainly be it. But this was being compared to the obvious thing, the whitewashing from the
Ghost in the Shell.
Ghost in the Shell, the movie you love so much.
I'm sorry.
And I get that, but there's a kind of a big difference because there are lots of Asian actors around. And I don't know that there are tons
They're lying around all over the place. Just pick one up.
Yeah. I don't... Like I said, I can see the reason for the concern and the uproar. And it'll be interesting to see what trans actor they get to play the lead.
Chastity Bono, or whatever it's called.
And that was Chastity Bono or Chaz Bono. I can't remember.
Is that really is that the name, Chastity Bono?
That was her name, and I can't recall what Chastity goes by. And maybe it's Charles, or maybe it's just Chaz. But anyway,
Steve. He's in the new Mario movie.
And no disrespect to the person, but not typically on my radar, Chaz, because we're not really focused on actors that are not exactly huge stars. Chaz Bono was one of the people that was listed. It's like, well, why not Chaz Bono? It's like, because does anybody know Chaz Bono is an actor?
I actually didn't. I just thought,
you're comparing a superstar to, I didn't know they acted. They got to make money. And granted, this is not a tentpole release. Not making any jokes. Just saying this is not going to be a huge release. This is going to be a film where probably if they make $25 million, they'll be thrilled. I get that. Maybe you don't need a big star. But casting someone like Scarlett Johansson gets a lot of
publicity.
And in this case, it was the wrong kind. But if you cast Chaz Bono, does anybody care? It's just kind of... And it's an odd point in history, I suppose, where, gee, who are we going to get? It's like, well, we can get that person I've never heard of, or we can get this person I've never heard of, or that person. It's just seems a little strange for this furor to come up over, how dare she do this? It's like, what? Who do you have in her place? And it's just... Oh, let's go to Ranker. Ranker is a good source. Transgender actors. Let's see what they have on Ranker. Oh, there's
Jeffrey Tambor.
Chaz Bono is the very first one listed. Someone named Ian Harvey, Richard O'Brien, Riley Carter Millington, Buck Angel, Luke Anderson, Scott Turner Schofield. Those are
names I have not heard of.
So, okay, that's your list. Maybe there was a reason.
7 of the starting 9 of the Milwaukee Brewers.
Maybe there was a reason they were going with Scarlett Johansson, because maybe they wanted to make money on this movie. Just imagine.
How dare they?
I don't.
That's exploiting the transgender community, making money on a movie like. Wait a minute.
Brian Michael Smith. There's another one great. I mean, I'm sorry, it's just not a.
Wasn't he with Don Johnson on the on Miami Vice?
Yeah, there you go. Here's another list. I have not heard of a single one of these actors. So, again, it doesn't mean they can't act. Doesn't mean they might not be fantastic. But they are trying to make money. And if you have Scarlett Johansson in a film, you've got a better shot at it. That's all. Anyway.
Speaking of sexuality, let's go to something that I don't need to know this or this character's sexuality. I really don't. There's a petition going to have Joaquin Phoenix's Joker character be gay again. I never knew the character of the Joker was gay in the first place, but apparently there are some of the people who worked on the character, like Neil Adams and Frank Miller, all kind of went, I always thought he was gay. Well, okay, whatever. It's not like have you ever seen a sex scene with the Joker in it?
Did either of them either put it into a storyline if they thought he was gay?
Not that I know of.
I mean, if it was that important to them,
well, that's just
why did it crop up?
For me, the sexuality of the Joker is absolutely irrelevant.
Exactly. And if people, why exactly are people petitioning for this? Because they want one of the most heinous villains ever created to be gay? Is that a good thing?
I don't get this.
Yeah, I don't understand the concept. I mean, if it was Batman, I could get that. It would be kind of bizarre, but I could get that because, again, his sexuality has never come into it. Although in more recent storylines, the whole thing with Catwoman, more recent storylines, I guess that's been going on for 20 years. I mean, just possibly marrying.
Well, they were supposed to have had the wedding in
right.
What the recent issue, which, spoiler, it didn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's immaterial for most characters, it's immaterial what their sexuality is. But do you really? It's want
libido,
villain?
Man. What is his sexuality?
Do you really want a villain? I don't get that.
I mean, there are some gay characters in both Marvel and DC. Mm-hmm. I think DC is the first one to have an openly gay couple of superheroes. Well, actually, it wasn't really DC that did it. It was Image Comics getting the characters Midnighter and Apollo together.
Midnighter,
and then DC bought that part of Image or merged with them or whatever, and so now they're part of the regular DC universe.
But that's different because with Midnighter, the sexuality is part of the storyline, and it does matter. So I mean, that's an entirely different thing.
I think he's a cool character.
Yeah, he's a
cool
and
terribly underused. He needs to have his own book again.
And when they did one of their million retcons, they went back and they changed the original Green Lantern, and now the original Green Lantern is gay. The Golden Age Green Lantern. Yeah. And again, if it matters to the storyline, well then sure. But yeah, I just don't get the whole thing. It's like, oh, let's have the Joker be gay again. It's like, okay. I don't really see that that's helpful to anybody. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And to the main point, doing a standalone Joker movie really doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I mean, Joaquin Phoenix, that's awesome. That's really cool. I love the casting, but don't want to see it. I don't care. It's like maybe try and make another main character hero movie that's good. Because so far, since Christopher Nolan stepped away from the chair, you've gotten Wonder Woman made, and that's the only thing decent that you guys have done. So let's focus on the big picture a little more.
other Joker news, of which there was a bit this week. Frances McDormand, I saw this morning, was supposed to be playing Joker's mom.
Yeah.
No, she doesn't have a clown face because she's not going to be in the movie at all whatsoever. She said she didn't want to do it. Okay.
Because why would...
I don't know. I just work here.
I don't know why she would want to be in it anyway.
But let's see. They also announced the budget of the movie is going to be around $55 million. So that means there's going to be lots of let's go somewhere and shoot a bit because we can't build a set on that kind of a budget. And
that makes sense that they're going to make it, which is crazy that $55 million is a lower budgeted film these days, but it is.
Yeah.
And it makes perfect sense. They don't have expectations of this is going to be a $500 million hit because no. If they're lucky, yeah, it would be. You know, if Joaquin Phoenix blows everyone out of the theater, not literally, but close, which he's certainly capable of doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be. It could be a gigantic hit, but it's smart not to count on it. At least they did one thing right. They set a budget reasonable budget.
Yeah. Let's see. Other DC news from the Shazam movie. And I am so going to mispronounce this name. I love the actor. Don't know how to pronounce this because I've never actually heard anyone say it. Digimon Hwansu. Am I coming close with that?
As far as I know, you are, yes.
Okay, from Amistad. He was in Guardians of the Galaxy. He's now going to be in the Shazam movie as the Wizard Shazam.
Oh, that's really cool.
Which I think works.
No, it totally works.
I'm in favor of that.
I mean, the Wizard can be any gender, any specific sexuality, any race. Yeah, Wizard, and he's awesome. He's great, and I like that because it's a very should be at least a very weighty role, very important. Might not be in the movie a lot, but it's going to be a really key figure.
Well, so they gave him the role after Tilda Swinton turned in. I'm kidding.
So he will be in Marvel movies and a DC movie. So
yeah,
because he's going to be in Captain Marvel as well,
which works. Let's see. Moving on to Star Wars, for there is Star Wars news now that they've killed off Han Solo. Carrie Fisher is gone. Even though they wanted her to be in the movie, there's very little they can do about that. Spoiler: they killed Luke Skywalker. He's going to be in the movie anyway as a Force ghost. Don't worry about it. They announced this week that the original Lando Calrissian, Billy D. Williams himself, is returning for Episode 9. I consider that to be good news. Is that good news, or is he a bit old for the role now?
No, I think that's good news. I mean,
will he plug a Colt 45 in the middle of it?
That would be awesome. He won't, but God, that would be great. Yeah, I think that's great news. I mean, he's terrific. I wonder how Donald Glover feels about it.
Donald Glover will be fine with it. It's not like Donald Glover would make sense to. No, we're going to age him, or we can just get Billy D. Williams for half the price.
Yeah, I think that's very cool that he's going to be in it. It gives me a reason to think, maybe I'll go see it. I mean, I'm going to go see it, but I'm not really expecting
looking forward
much
to it.
It's just, to me, this latest round of movies, they've been entertaining. They've been okay. It's like, that's not what Star Wars movies should be, and I get that a lot of people are just like floored by them and they love them, and I get that. That's cool. But it's like, yeah, I'll see it, and it'll be mildly entertaining, and then I'll kind of think, wish they'd done this, wish they'd done that, wish they hadn't done this. I mean,
bring back the books.
But that is a singular bright spot. That's
some good
cool.
news, I bet. Good Star Wars news.
That's very good news.
Other good news, and I read this week, and I was I mean, we've heard talk about them making a new Red Sonja movie. And I have been thinking, why? I mean, the Conan the Barbarian movie that they made a couple years ago did not go over well. How could a Red Sonja movie go over well? And then I found out what they've been doing with Red Sonja, because it's not something I have paid any attention to. And I might start paying attention to it now because it sounds interesting. Amy Chu has been writing the new Red Sonja book, where the character is no longer set in whatever time period it was, ancient times when barbarians with swords ruled the land, etc., etc. The character of Red Sonja has been brought to the present and is incorporating herself into modern society. That could be interesting. And that's what we're hearing is going to be the new Red Sonja movie. And there's a quote from Amy Chu that I really liked. When she found out that that's what she was going to be doing with the books, I said, go that way. She said, fine. But, quote, I want to get her on a motorcycle. Oh, okay. Cool. So there's actually, it was done. Red Sonja in kind of a lighter battle armor with a big ass sword on a motorcycle. And it actually looks like it worked. And that would make a good shot for at least a promotional poster, if not, a scene in the movie.
With Scarlett Johansson playing Red Sonja. So there you go.
She's too short. She'll play Wolverine in the next... No.
Oh, Lord.
Anyway, let's see. That's a comic being turned into a movie. How about a movie being turned into a comic? Who was it? James Cameron's Aliens was really big, and he wanted to have... They wanted to have author William Gibson, who did Neuromancer, write a script for Alien 3. And he wrote it. And they looked at it and went, nah. We're going to go on to do this rapey prison scene, Alien 3, which didn't really work. But Gibson's script is now being transformed into a graphic novel. And... you know what? I'm not even going to bother giving you what is this? 4 pages of plot. Look, it's Dark Horse is producing it. It's coming out in November, so we've got a while. But it looks like it's going to be interesting. And if you want to know where Alien was going to be originally going, here you go.
That sounds pretty cool. Very cool.
Actually, I've got some good news.
I got some good news for you too. Adrian Palicki, she would be an excellent Red Sonja because she's tall. Well, not only because she's tall, she's very cool. Mockingbird from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Ah, okay. Sorry, took me. I was like, I know the name. I'm not placing it, and I know I can't look it up because I can't spell it.
But actually, I think she would be great because I really liked her in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And it's not just because she's tall. That's the only reason. But she does physically fit the character. But I think she would be awesome.
There we go.
That would be great. Anyway.
Director Rawson Marshall Thurber, who is out doing all the promotional stuff for Skyscraper with The Rock. Apparently he became famous doing a little movie called Dodgeball. And he announced this week something about Dodgeball 2.
Of course.
He announced, it's not going to happen. And I said, good.
Yeah, seriously. It's like, please don't say Dodgeball 2.
Yeah.
But you said it, but in a good context of
but
no.
In a good I made it good, so there. Yeah, a lot of people, he says, have been contacting him going, make a sequel. He said, I said everything I wanted to say in the first one. And my thought was, you said something in the first one? But, that was
just really...
I'm sorry. It's not him. It's that movie that just made me go, really?
Yeah.
Look at me not be a fan of it. But some people liked it.
Yeah.
Whatever. I heard some really bizarre reboot news this week. One of them almost kind of makes sense. I'm not sure which is the weirder reboot. Paul Blomkamp, which is just a really weird name anyway, says he's writing a sequel to RoboCop. Now, whether this is a sequel to RoboCop, the original series,
it is,
or the remake, because I've heard both. Who knows, but I suspect I'll be buying that for $1 when it hits the Walmart discount DVD bin.
Oh, no, sir. You are so wrong.
Oh, come on.
You'll have to wait a long time to buy it in the discount DVD bin.
I don't know. Things get there quickly these days.
District 9, great movie.
It's in the discount bin.
Pretty good movie. Yeah, how old is District 9? Come on now.
I don't know. I've forgotten.
I'll
admit it has escaped me.
And Chappie, which... Did not get good reviews, but I love Chappie. I think Chappie is a hilarious movie.
That's one of those movies that people who have seen it go, it's excellent, and then people who haven't seen it go, who?
Right. Because, and you know, another movie that people did that back in the day, Big Trouble in Little China.
That is true.
And Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai. I mean, to me, it's not quite at those levels. You're so funny. Chappie is a great movie. When I heard this is one of the few remake reboots, whichever way they're going to go, that I was excited about, because he does some awesome work. He does
remaking
awesome work. And RoboCop, which was done 2014, we were talking about it. Pre-Pro just didn't quite work. It should have been so much better, and it's like it hurt not to have Peter Weller, and I'm sure Peter Weller is not going to be.
He's got a human hand. Wait, what? How?
But I'm really excited that Blomkamp is going to be in for RoboCop. So Neil Blomkamp, that will be very, very cool, because he's great director, great writer. This is awesome news to me. He's been trying to do an Alien movie for 6-7 years. Yeah. And no, we're not going to go that route. We're not going to go that route. And it's like, maybe eventually you guys should. But this is awesome, because I think they're finally going to get back to what RoboCop was really about, because he was talking about when he first saw it, because he was a kid, because 87 was a while ago. You know, the whole thing of the corporate greed and consumerism and all the other stuff that RoboCop is about in some aspects is, you know, what really attracted to him. Then as he got older, he really keyed in on that that's about identity. And that's what it's really about, is Murphy finally becoming Murphy again. And so with him working from that aspect of it, this is so cool. I can't wait. Hopefully Fox has nothing to do with it, because it'll be 2090 before it comes out. If it goes on the New Mutant train.
It wouldn't be Fox doing it. It would be Disney doing a RoboCop movie.
Yeah.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Let's not go that route. We need a little more gunfire. But yeah, very, very cool.
All right, the other bizarre reboot. How's this? Warner Animation Group and Mark Burton, the guy who wrote Madagascar, are working on a new animated version of The Wizard of Oz. This time told from the perspective of a character we have not seen before. Would you like to guess which one?
TikTok.
Who?
No, it's based on Toto, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's called Toto, the doggone amazing story of the Wizard of Oz.
Oh my God, that's not really the title, is it?
I would like to be making that up, and yet I'm not.
Hopefully they'll change that. That's hideous.
But that's not going to fit on a movie marquee.
No, it sounds like we wrote it too. The dog. Oh wow. Wizard of Oz has been done a lot of times. A lot of times. And there are, 14 books in the series? And the iconic movie that we all know really doesn't follow the books that closely anyway, so I'm fine with that.
You know, change the color of the shoes because, well, that actually had a good reason for it.
It did.
You know, they tried filming the original silver shoes, and they kind of went, it looks gray, get a different color.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. My daughter came up with an interesting idea, and I expounded on this, though. She said, because it's a dog, is the whole film going to be filmed in black and white?
That would be cool.
And I thought, it's not quite, when they're in Kansas, it'll be filmed in black and white, but when they get to Oz, it's going to turn into kind of like the Sin City animated black and white, not grayscale black and white.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
That would be the only way I think I might be interested in
and also, it needs to be filmed from a perspective. The camera needs to literally be like 8 inches off the ground. That would be great.
So you're having you hear a lot of conversations and see a lot of shins.
And lots of shots of bones. Long, deep focus shots of bones off in the distance.
Wow.
And then tracking shots running. That's like maybe it could be Doug and the Wizard of Oz. That would be awesome. Squirrel, except in this case it would be Munchkin, and he'd run off after the Munchkin. Yeah, why not?
So
just don't go with that title.
That's all I've got this week. Title. We've kind of made it even long for what we had, because this week, starting I think it's Thursday, San Diego Comic-Con. Expect there to be tons of. Honestly, I don't know what's left to have come out. But we'll find out later this week. And speaking of later this week, we'll also have the Cinema-Savants Reviews show. It'll be out on Thursday. And no, Lee won't be there either, because he's like that sometimes.
He has a life, the fool.
Oh, how dare he have a life. Hi, Donna. Anyway, it is Donna, isn't it?
Yeah, yes.
Oh,
yes,
dear. I'm going to get in trouble. Well, that's one way to get him to call into the show.
Yeah, there you go.
Anyway, we'll see you Thursday. Have a good week.
Captain, we're losing power in the warp engines.
I think we should be leaving now.
I'm going to go home and sleep with my wife.
And on that unusually harmonious bombshell, it is time to end.
I am very disappointed!
Man, we have a weird job.
It's shameful, but, it's a living.
And like that, he's gone.
Darn, that's the end.